Hi, I'm Karen Ellingsworth, and when I won the U.S. Open in 1984, it's a feeling I'll never forget. Even though I remember being in somewhat of a daze, it was really special.
Hi, I'm Robin Romeo, and I won this prestigious event in 1989. And believe me, the lady who wins this tournament tonight will have a memory she'll never forget.
ESPN and the Ladies Pro Bowlers Tour present the $100,000 BPAA U.S. Open. Now let's preview tonight's finals field from nearby La Habra, California. Three-time champion Anne-Marie Dugan will face Cheryl Daniels of Detroit in tonight's opening match. The winner of that first test will then take on three-time winner Sandra Jo Shirey of Coldwater, Michigan. Starting from the number 2 position and bowling out of Tacoma, Washington, it's 8-time titleist Jeannie Maiden, while the current LPBT Player of the Year, Leanne Barrett, will need to capture just one game, the title match, in order to clinch her first major championship, the U.S. Open. Welcome to spacious Fountain Bowl, located in Fountain Valley, California, for tonight's championship round finals of the $100,000 BPAA U.S. Open. Hi everybody, I'm Denny Schreiner and welcome to Fountain Valley, California, the site of the 21st annual United States Open. The very first one back in 1971 was won by then an amateur, Paula Sperber, who is now, of course, Paula Carter. Last year's champion, Dana Miller-Mackey, she ended up 21st this week, but the lady who was 16th in this year's United States Open, Leila Wagner, stands next to me. Let's talk about, of course, our number 5 seed, Anne-Marie Dugan, bowling in front of the hometown fans.
Well, Denny, there's no doubt in my mind that being the hometown favorite can help you. Anne-Marie proved it last night. She made a strong move from 9th to make the telecast here tonight.
Cheryl Daniels now appearing in the championship round for the second consecutive week, but I think she wants to add a major championship to her resume.
Well, Cheryl Daniels, having a little bit of a rough start last week, I think got her feet wet. She feels very confident being in the telecast this week.
The quiet one, Sandra Jo Shirey, just seems to qualify and then win when she gets there. She starts from the number 3 position.
A very tough mental game this lady has, Denny. From the number 3 position, I think she is going to have an advantage over the other 2 players. She's going to be able to come on. If she does get lined up, she can throw a lot of strikes. The other 2 players are going to come on cold.
All right, let's talk about Jeannie Maiden, who is trying to overcome a catastrophe. 2 weeks ago, she led the prestigious Queens and then shot 159 in the title match.
Well, if any player could bounce back, Denny, it is Jeannie Maiden. She bounced back just 2 days ago. She had fallen to 15th place here in this tournament. She made a strong move yesterday, made it into the 2nd position.
Leanne Barrett promptly went out and led this one by over 400 pins. She's the current player of the year, but she wants a little more respect perhaps from the bowling writers. She says she has to win a major championship.
Well, many times they talk about the greats are only proven by the majors that they do win. Leanne Barrett would like to prove just how great she is. She's determined to win here tonight.
Certainly one of the most prestigious events in women's professional bowling, the United States Open. We'll be back with the start of match number 1 momentarily. The championship round finals of the $100,000 BPAA U.S. Open is being brought to you by Budweiser, the king of beers with that clean, crisp, cold taste. Nothing beats a Bud. And by Citizen, official timer of the America's Cup 92. Coming back, the opening match will feature Anne-Marie Dugan, the local pro from La Habra, against 3-time champion Cheryl Daniels. We'll be right back. .212 players started the week in the chase for one of the most prestigious championships in women's professional bowling, the United States Open. Just 5 remain, and Anne-Marie Dugan begins the championship round on lanes 51 and 52.
A difficult tournament, Denny, to get to the top 5. There's 56 games that these players had to go through. It's been a week of grueling competition.
Anne-Marie starts with a strike. And she gets a round of applause from the many fans and relatives and friends that she has in the Southern California area.
Well, Anne-Marie wanted me to mention all her friends and family that were unable to be here. Patrick and Kelly, her stepkids, and Billy Joe, and everybody else that was unable to make it here.
But of course, they're watching this evening on ESPN as Cheryl Daniels comes right back with a strike of her own to open up championship round play.
Cheryl Daniels not using much of the approach, has a 4-step approach, pushes the ball very low, very strong player. You can see that level head, high backswing, cupped wrist, and the knee bend. Interesting note, both of these players met in Hammond, Indiana last fall. Cheryl Daniels the victor in that match by only 1 pin.
Comes back with a good shot with a solid 10-pin on the left-hand lane. We're told we have a little bit of a technical problem because it's thunderstorming in Bristol, Connecticut, the home of ESPN. So hopefully the skies will clear up in Connecticut and we'll end up with a nice clear picture. Cheryl Daniels with 3 championships, all of those coming in 1989, winless since then.
Well, the last time she was the number 4 seed was just last week. She lost to Mary Martha, shot 198.
Anne-Marie Dugan also looking for her first major championship. She qualified for the telecast in the U.S. Open back in 1984 and finished 5th. So she had a chance to win the United States Open, but could do no better than 5th.
It's been a long dry spell for Anne-Marie. She was the 1983 Ebonite Rookie of the Year. Started her career very early. First tournament as a member, she won it, and that was in Houston in that year. Anne-Marie uses a 5-step approach. You can see the difference between the 2 games here. Steps first, then pushes the ball away. The knee bend really likes to go away with the ball. She crosses a lot of boards.
Asked her if she played in at all this week, and she said just 1 round and it was okay, but I really tried to play outside of 5 and get the ball to hook as much as possible. I had the best carry when I did that, so that's what she comes out with here this evening. The game plan is to play out and hook it as much as possible, and thus far it's working with perfection as she starts with a 3-bagger.
Well, Anne-Marie's husband, Pat Dugan, was able to drill her up a new ball that opened up her area and create some area for her, that she was able to play out that far. Not all the players were able to do so.
Cheryl Daniels 19 and 23 all time in the championship round. 0-1 here in 1991. A little more direct, and I'm not so sure that's exactly what she wanted as she leaves the 3-6-10.
Appearing to pull the ball a little bit on that shot, Denny really did not trust it and throw it right. She's there, a little swing of the arm. You can tell she's just trying to keep her arm swing loose. She did bowl the best when the lane conditioner carried down the lane. It gave her a little bit more hold, so we might see that shot holding as the games go on.
Beautiful bowling center, Fountain Bowl, here in Fountain Valley, California, hosting this year's United States Open.
Wonderful staff. They were very accommodating to all the players this week. Cheryl Daniels, the 1989 Bowlers Journal All-American, also the 1989 Women Bowler All-American. Really had a banner year in '89.
Broke through and won 3 times as she strikes now in the 4th. And we're glad you've joined us here this evening from Fountain Valley, California for the live finals of the U.S. Open. Anne-Marie Dugan leading by 23 here in the opening match.
Anne-Marie's last title came along with Stacy Ryder in the 1990 doubles tournament, which will be our next event coming up in August.
After the commercial timeout, an errant toss, but a smile and a big break for Anne-Marie, who won Brooklyn in the 4th.
And Anne-Marie's father, Robert Pike, and husband, Pat Dugan, are in the audience, along with many, many other friends and family that we can't mention.
Too numerous to mention.
Exactly.
Perfect start. Anne-Marie by 33, could be 43 if she strikes here at the midway point.
A key shot, capitalize on the break that she just got.
Once again high, and the last 2 shots not indicative of what she did in the early part of the match.
Well, cutting the ball a little short, Denny. She did not swing the ball out to the right, therefore it hooked a lot earlier on her. A difficult spare conversion, the 3-9-10. She will try to put the ball between the 3 and the 10 and hope to get the 9.
Perfect.
And Marie appears to be right on her game and very sharp. You know, she grew up in this area, and I asked her, did you bowl much here at Fountain Bowl? And she said, well, occasionally through the years as a junior I did. I said, do you have any advantage here? And she said, no, not really, but we've all bowled 56 games this week, so we all should have a pretty good idea of what's going on.
I feel like I've never left the place. I've bowled here all my life this last week.
56 games is a long format. Most people don't realize just how tough it is, especially in your case when you're in the thick of it down to the last 8 games. I mean, every shot's a crucial shot.
Well, Cheryl Daniels went to a massage therapist, Gino Vasello, the day before match play started because her right shoulder and her hip were all out of line, and there's a lot of toll taken on your body when you bowl this many games.
Plus, this is the end of an 8-week swing for the LPBT. You've mentioned the doubles comes up in August, and the ladies rejoin on ESPN in the beginning of October. A little off-balance shot for Cheryl, who could have cut the lead to 10, but leaves the solid 10 on lane 51. So the whole point is they've been out here 2 months, by and large, the touring professionals. It's time to go home.
Well, that's right, and to end with such a grinding tournament, but the scores were good this week, and that really helps. You didn't have to throw 2 balls every shot. A lot of strikes were thrown.
Cross lane, no skid. Cheryl Daniels with the first mental error here in game number 1. That could cost her.
Well, that's just going to give Anne-Marie that much more confidence, Denny. She did carry the Brooklyn. She picked up a split. Right now she just needs to execute and stay aggressive and get the ball out to the right part of the lane.
A little better shot, but not quite good enough. And it seems strange. Neither one of the last 3 shots have come within 2 or 3 boards of where she started the match.
No, the first shot she threw, Denny, that ball went out to at least the 4th, 5th board before it made a break back. So far, her last 4 shots, she has not gotten the ball out farther than that 7th, 8th board. Therefore, it's hooking on her. Until that lane conditioner carries down, she is not going to have that hold.
And she gives away a pin and count. This one turns around a little bit. It's an 18-pin advantage now for Anne-Marie Dugan as she stands up in the 7th. So both players with misses.
Well, there's a lot of times you get that adrenaline going and you get a little bit too aggressive and you just cut the shot a little short, as we say. You don't extend through the ball.
Well, let's see if she goes in cycles. The first 3 were very good. The next 3 not too good. This one's plenty of room. Rolls up. Nice reaction. I think she's just missing to the left, Leo. She must just not realize it. So for Anne-Marie, it's an 18-pin lead here in match number 1 of the United States Open. Irvine Lake is the site for many families to go out and picnic and also perhaps even catch yourself a fish or 2 here in Los Angeles. Critical stage here in match number 1, perhaps biggest shot of the week for Cheryl Daniels. She trails by 18, but if she doubles right here, Leila, she climbs right back into the thick of this one.
A key shot. Now she left that ring in 10 on lane 51 last time.
More speed. Boy, handy of a shot on lane 52.
Well, you can see the difference of the line of these 2 players. Cheryl Daniels opted to play inside a little bit more, find that hold area. She's right around the 2nd arrow, the ball not going out more than the 8th board. It holds line. And you can see right there from the bottom, the 15th feet. You can see her ball at 10th board, right on the 2nd arrow, 17 miles an hour. Coming down at 55 feet, 5 feet from the head pin. The ball dropping speed.
She crosses over, kicks on the 6, and will gladly take the Brooklyn break. And the lead now is 8 pins.
Well, what goes around comes around. As you can see here, this ball looking very sharply right at the last 5 feet. And this is her reaction. She's going to say, all right, you carried Brooklyn. I can carry it too. I'll take it.
Anne-Marie trying to bounce back. Boy, beautiful shot there. She just kind of lost touch with her game for 3 frames. A little short hiatus here in match number 1. She leads by 18, could apply plenty of pressure right now if she strikes.
Much better execution. Now you see the difference in the line. 15 feet. Anne-Marie's hitting the 7th board at 55 feet. Her ball's at the 12th board. Then it's making a sharp break in the last 5 feet. She's throwing the ball a little bit harder than Cheryl Daniels.
.252 was the possible best for Anne-Marie until that solid 10 in the 9th frame.
The ringing 10, a tough break for Anne-Marie there. The ball just making a late break, coming up behind the head pin. It causes the 6 pin to go around the 10.
Better hang on, and it doesn't, so Anne-Marie misses a 10. Both players have missed a 10 pin here in the opening match, and instead of being in control, she now hands over a possible win to Cheryl Daniels.
Anne-Marie really felt that she threw this ball pretty good, but the ball hit that lane conditioner right in the center of the lane and just barely missed it.
Cheryl Daniels with an overall leaves the big 4, grimaces, turns around and says, "Whew, I got some problems now."
Well, both players, after leaving or after missing a 10 pin, came up and threw a split, gave the match right back to their opponents. It appears you cannot set the ball or cut the ball short, Denny. The back ends are definitely moving.
For the make. 6 pin took off, but nothing much happening there. Cheryl Daniels, when she goes back and relives and rewatches the tape of this one, will realize that the 9th frame was the key frame.
Not an easy spare conversion, the 4, 6, 7, 10. Just hoping to hit one of the pins.
If she strikes out, she shoots .234. She closes her out. Actually, if she goes strike and just 1 strike in the 10th frame, the match is pretty much over. Now, if she strikes out, she shoots .196. Anne-Marie needs just 8 pins in the 10th frame to win. Talk about just flat giving it away. Both players trying to be very hospitable here this evening.
Well, Denny, that is the tension building there in the U.S. Open. They knew they could really apply pressure to their opponent and really made the errant shot.
Cheryl comes back for those 2 beautiful strikes. So with 1 more, she shoots .196. But in all likelihood, Anne-Marie, with 2 shots in the 10th, will end up with 8 or more.
Right now, I'm not going to forecast anything because I can't believe both of these players have turned the match around.
Well, I should say this. It looks like the condition is a very good one. If you go out and make a good, crisp, professional shot, you get a nice reaction. If you do anything less than that, and you end up on the nose or out the window.
Anne-Marie checking the rack, making sure that at least if she hits the pocket, she's going to get what she deserves. That would be a strike.
Does she change her philosophy right now, Leila, realizing that she needs, well, now she needs only 7 pins to win?
No, she needs to just get up. She has 2 balls to get 7 pins. She needs to just get up, make a good, clean, crisp shot, go for all 10. Perfect.
Well, that's exactly the way that you want to close out an opponent. It's coming kind of a strange way. Anne-Marie with 7 strikes, and she's going to barely shoot 200. Normally that's a game in the 230s when you throw 7 strikes. So she's got the strike ball when she makes the good play, but just needs to do it more consistently.
Well, I think now with 1 game under her belt, she will loosen up a little bit, Denny. She obviously knows what type of error she has made when she does pull the ball. She knows it's not going to set. She has to give it room to the right.
So a game of 219 with 9 strikes. That's not easy to do. X is here. Final shot in the 10th frame for Cheryl Daniels. She'll head home to the Detroit area and take a little time off with a 5th place finish in the United States Open, the 2nd time that she has done that in her career.
Checking out her area, just how far right she can go, and she says, well, it will even come back from out there.
219 for Anne-Marie Dugan to 195, and so Anne-Marie moves on here into game number 2. Sandra Joe with 3 titles, one here in 1991. There's the official handshake. You guys really mean that when you do that?
Sure.
Okay. I'm just checking.
But you know, I was once told that you don't say good luck, you just say good bowling.
Good bowling. Now, see, do you think Dennis Rodman would shake hands if he were?
Well, the boxers
Good
come out
question.
and
That's right, they
shake
do.
hands,
Sure.
right? Or hit fists.
Oh my! And in the opening round here in game number 2, a big right hand, and Anne Marie staring at the big 4.
Not getting out of the ball very well at all. Turning it early. She looked down at her hand. When that happens, you also let up on your ball speed, and the ball is unable to hold the line.
Anne Marie with 8 out to open up game number 2. Sandra Jo Shirey will not cross many boards, but she will hit the pocket.
Sandra Jo playing right between the first and second arrow around the 8th board. I think you mentioned very direct. Sandra Jo making her big move once match play started.
Comes out, bumps to 5 into the 7, and she'll take the light hit in frame number 1.
The light hits really carried very well all week. Here you can see the 5-pin not exactly being blown out of the building, but enough to take out the 7.
Hard to believe that 7 went down. The wind must have got. She'll take the strike nevertheless. What if the left-hand lane is hooking just a fraction more than the right? I don't know. 6-7 is left by Sandra Jo Shirey.
Well, I'd have to say she let up also on her speed there, Denny. But I have to tell you, the players really did have some nice hold area throughout the week, and it appears the back ends here are moving a little bit more. So if you're used to having that hold for 56 games and all of a sudden you don't quite have as much of it, that shot probably would have struck earlier in the week.
Or maybe you leave just the 4-pin.
Possibly, yes.
Anne Marie will try and come back from the disaster in the first. Jeannie Maiden is qualified number 2. Lee Ann Barrett just absolutely ran away and hid from the rest of the field. She is our top seed this week in the United States Open, sponsored by the Bowling Proprietors Association of America. There's a much better shot for Anne Marie on lane 52.
I asked Anne Marie if she was able to go all the way through the field and win the $16,500, what she would do with it, and she told me, well, they had some vacation plans. They wanted to fly her stepchildren out and take a nice vacation through the West Coast in their motorhome up through Montana. And sounded like a lot of fun for the summer, since we are off majority of the summer.
You're going to bowl the doubles, right?
Yes,
Paula Drake and
Paula
yourself?
Drake
All
and
right.
myself will be once again bowling in Las Vegas,
Samstown.
Samstown. Meanwhile, Anne Marie re-racking. You are allowed 2 re-racks.
And should have re-racked again. Perfect shot there. Left the solid 10-pin. Good shot there. That would have been a double.
Perfect. Right now she just needs to stay under control. Her father, very difficult to be a spectator in this situation. Anne Marie missed the 10-pin last time on lane 51. The ball sliding off into the channel. Let's see how she makes the adjustment.
A little more direct this time. Stayed and watched to make sure, and then smiled on the way back. Said, all right, I've got it. No problem the rest of the way.
Well, I think she really did feel she had picked it up last time, so the smile there was worthwhile.
An even match in the early stages of game number 2. The final stop on the LPBT Spring Tour here in Fountain Valley, California. Good speed, nice hold. This time a better shot on the right-hand lane for Sandra Jo, but once again the 10-pin stands.
Sandra Jo winning earlier this year in Athens. Also has 2 fourth-place finishes, one in Ashland, Kentucky, and one in Winter Park, Florida. And she finished 5th in Adelphi, Maryland. So she has really had a very, very consistent year.
The type of player, Leila, that once she gets locked into a certain type of a shot or a condition, that's going to go out and pretty much do what she has to do to get to the final 5, and Of course, what established her in the LPBT record books was the fact that she won as an amateur, the first ever amateur to win a Ladies Pro Bowlers Tour event.
Well, Denny, she doesn't seem to get into trouble much. Like you mentioned, if she comes in and has her condition, she is very well in that track area, anywhere from about the 7th board to the 12th, 13th board. Very direct, straight up the boards.
Into the swing early. Adjustment was made on the left-hand lane, and a strike for Sandra Jo Shirey. So it's an even match at this stage. Sandra Jo and Anne-Marie Dugan battling it out in game number 2 here at the United States Open. Huntington Beach, one of the most famous surfing beaches in the state of California. And our producer George Smith right there, hanging 10 in Southern California. Anne-Marie's mom watching intently at this point. Rightfully so. It's a close match.
Well, it's a big thrill for the parents to be able to be here for such a prestigious event as the U.S. Open. I know my family was able to come in and watch and root me on, and you can't imagine having your family members here.
Plenty of room. Nice hold shot. Anne-Marie with a strike. And the 4th and C, Mom says, all right, Anne-Marie, now you got the right-hand lane. Let's figure out the left-hand lane. Well, you had a chance to win an Open, what, back in 1985?
That's right. Pat Mercantani beat me, and I finished 5th or 4th. I don't even remember.
She went on to win the tournament.
Uh-huh.
That was in where, Topeka, Kansas?
The first year that we did bowl in Topeka, we bowled back-to-back. Wendy McPherson won it the very next year.
Anne-Marie looking for another strike. Good speed. Boy, beautiful double for Anne-Marie, who now grabs a 10-pin lead.
Right here, bowler track. The ball at 15 feet, traveling 16.7 miles per hour, hitting right around the 8th board. She's been very consistent. Once again, at 55 feet, the ball's at the 13th board. Her ball has not dropped much speed that time.
And Sandra Jo comes right back. Of course, we would be remiss right now if we didn't thank Brian Collins of Brunswick and also the good folks for providing Brunswick Bowler Track all season long here on ESPN.
Sandra Jo, very basic 4-step approach, not a lot of backswing, actually plants 2 feet in front of the foul line. And our gift from Brian Collins, Sandra Jo's ball, 16.6 miles per hour, right along the same line except the direction of the ball. Sandra Jo throwing from right to left, Anne-Marie going actually from left to right.
Well, the real solid players in the championship round normally answer a double with one of their own. That's exactly what Sandra Jo has done. She has 3 in a row and now leads by 10. Got ourselves a pretty good match here in game number 2.
Well, I think the lane conditioner, Denny, is going to start carrying down the lane. We were on short oil this week. When we see it carry down, it also allows the balls to hold a little bit better. Perfect shot by Anne-Marie.
Both players heating up. Match is even just past the halfway point. The winner of this game gets the good fortune of taking on Jeannie Maiden, and whoever wins the semifinal will then do battle with our top seed, Leanne Barrett of Oklahoma City, Oklahoma.
Interesting, after the first round, Anne-Marie was tied for 52nd place with Leanne Barrett. So when you have so many games in a tournament, you can't let that get you down. They were actually 15 pins over a 200 average, so they weren't bowling bad, just the rest of the field were outscoring them.
Pat looks on. Another strike for Anne-Marie, who now leads by 10. No visit to California is complete without a visit to Disneyland. The #1 tourist attraction is only 10 minutes from the Fountain Bowl, and there's Mr. and Mrs. Mouse. You know, they bowl in a doubles league here at Fountain Bowl. You know, it's a disadvantage to shoot 56 games in a national format, but it's an advantage, I think, to the better players because it gives them that many more games to come from behind. Look at that. All those players, with the exception of Jeannie, started pretty far down the ladder.
A lot of time to excel. Really, the cream rises to the top, as we've definitely seen here this week.
And a good shot, but a solid 4 left by Sandra Jo, so the string ends at 3 for her, and Anne-Marie continues to lead.
4 pins really tripping out pretty well here this week, Denny, but that ball coming up a little bit too high into the pocket.
An 11-pin advantage now for Anne-Marie Dugan.
Sandra Jo coming from a very large bowling family. Everybody in her family bowls. Mom, dad, 2 brothers and a sister. Her father owned a bowling center, and it gave her a lot of time to practice.
Sandra Jo started kegling at the age of 4.
Is that all?
How old were you?
11. I started
11?
a little bit later.
A late
I
starter.
guess.
Okay. 11.
Look at the scoreboard there. Anne-Marie possible 258 game. Sandra Jo 237 pace if she were to strike out.
Needs a strike to stay in the match, and she does in the 8th frame. Well, for Anne-Marie Dugan, I would think that now is the time for her to step up and finish Sandra Jo off a little bit early.
Right now, if Anne-Marie gets these 2 key shots in the 8th and 9th frame, she could definitely put all the pressure onto Sandra Jo.
Plenty of room. Light hit, and it carries, as the 7-pin was the last to leave.
It almost appeared that that ball was going to make a break back, Denny, but she really set that ball a little bit farther inside. It slid down the lane a little bit too far. Well, you can see there she's at the 8th board at 15 feet. Well, it appeared from our angle that she was farther inside.
An aggressive shot nonetheless, trusting it to the right. This strike puts her in a position where she will be in control of her own destiny, regardless of what Sandra Jo does. Anne-Marie's going to get a chance to win in the 10th frame. Takes a look at the board, realizes, as Leila said, 258 is the optimum score. Sandra Jo could still shoot 237, which would at least make Anne-Marie show up for the 10th frame.
And really a sore thumb. You can see there a lot of games have taken their toll on this lady's hand.
Key shot for Sandra Jo Shirey, who comes back and continues to strike. If she has any hope whatsoever of advancing into the semifinal game, she better continue to throw X's all the way through the 10th.
Well, if she does strike out, Denny, she would force Anne-Marie to at least spare in the 10th.
Well, when you take a look at the 7th frame for Sandra Jo, if she carries the 4-pin there, boy, what a different match we have going into the 10th frame.
Dead even.
Whew. Just that one little shot once in a while makes the difference. Stay in the pocket. Yeah, there's the 4-pin that she needed so desperately in the 7th.
Even farther inside, that ball setting up into the pocket, and that 7-pin just tripped out that 4.
Well, when you shoot a game of 237, you're supposed to win in the championship round.
Well, usually you do. A tough break for Sandra Jo running into Anne-Marie at this point in time. But one more, she'll force her to at least mark.
Well, that one hooked early and set up nicely.
Great execution, good ball speed. The ball held line nicely.
237, the best possible score for Sandra Jo, who left the 6-7 in the 2nd frame, and that was her only open frame here in game number 2.
Right now, pin count, very important.
8 pins and 235.
Linda Thomas, our statistician, and Jan Schmidt out in the truck, figuring rapidly to give us the exact pin count that Anne-Marie needs.
Well, she needs a mark of some type to advance into the semifinal.
A lot of pressure right here.
Good shot, good speed, and for the 2nd consecutive match, Anne-Marie puts away her opponent with a solid strike on lane 52.
Really appears Anne-Marie has a great shot, Denny. She's able to send the ball to the right. It's coming back strong. She's carrying the light hits. The ball stayed a little bit tighter on line. The lane conditioner carrying down. You can see it holding line. And this is her reaction. And she'll show us a little bit here.
Little focus and concentration in those eyes. This one high doesn't make any difference as the 9-pin remains. Anne-Marie Dugan with a game in the 240s. Yeah, the pace has picked up a little bit here in game number 2.
Well, usually with that one game underneath your belt, now Denny Anne-Marie feeling very confident, very comfortable on this pair of lanes. You've got Jeannie Maiden coming out very cold.
Sandra Jo showed little, if any, emotion with any of the strikes, any of the opens, and with the fact that she finished fourth. That's her game face. Anne-Marie moves on to the semifinal game here from Fountain Ball. She'll take on 8-time titleist Jeannie Maiden of Tacoma, Washington. Ready for the semifinal game. Anne-Marie Dugan, who has thrown 9 strikes and 8 strikes in the first couple of games.
Once again, both players a little bit a different approach to the game. Denny, Anne-Marie still swinging the ball out to the right. Her ball going from left to right. Jeannie Maiden is going to come up and play a little bit more direct.
First time we've seen the 2-4-5 in the championship round this evening.
Really sending that ball. She trusted it. She opened up last game with the big 4, so she said, hey, I'm going to give it the room. At least I've been carrying those light hits a lot better than the ones that go through the nose. A difficult spare conversion, the 2-4-5 this week. And just as I say that, she chops it. If you catch that conditioner in the center of the lane, the ball slides. If you go across at it, the ball tends to hook.
Well, Anne-Marie is used to coming from behind. Had to do it last game, so shouldn't be much more of a chore for her here in the semifinal as we get our first impression of Jeannie Maiden in the championship round.
Jeannie Maiden, want me to mention Phil Cilia from Custom Fit Pro Shop, a very good friend, has helped her with her equipment over all the years in her home state of Ohio. Jeannie Maiden 5-step approach uses all the approach as well. Very definite push away. You can see here the high backswing, the follow through. Very methodical player, works a great deal on her timing. Told me this week she made a few adjustments and that's why she made the strong move. She said it was just something in her timing.
Has really been bowling well the last month or so. As we mentioned, she led the WIBC Queens and lost in the championship round to Dee Dee Davidson, but she opens up tonight's championship round with a solid double.
Well, Jeannie, the high qualifier in the fall for Samstown U.S. Open, Denny, came out and lost that event, then got a hand injury that kept her off the whole first part of the year.
Inside out swing for Anne-Marie Dugan, who comes back with an X. She trails by 21. She could cut the lead to 11, though, with a strike on lane 51. She has thrown a lot of strikes here tonight.
She sure has. Really demolished her opponents.
Defeated Cheryl Daniels 219 to 195, then went on to beat Sandra Jo Shirey 247 to 235.
Just enough to beat every player.
Plenty of loft. A little delay. Nice strike. Well, she got a nice reaction.
Both players actually getting a nice reaction. Now, Jeannie Maiden, more direct player, typical of the Sandra Jo line that she was playing. Jeannie Maiden a little bit farther outside on the lane.
What is she giving us, the thumbs up there?
How about holding it up so the swelling goes down?
Yeah, very tender thumb right now for Anne-Marie, but one would suspect that she could still bowl one more game after this one tonight. Jeannie Maiden trying to get locked in, throws a very nice shot on 52, and she leaves the ringing 10.
Actually playing closer to the second arrow, Jeannie Maiden threw that shot. Ball never really breaking more than the 8th board. 6-pin right around the right around the 10. Bad break here. Jeannie Maiden's ball traveling at 17 miles an hour, hitting the 8th board at 15 feet. Now she's going right to left.
Changes balls for the 10-pin, and she changes spare balls for only the 10-pin. That's something a little unusual.
Well, with the 6-10, Denny, you don't have to really worry about the ball hooking too much, but this is a technique that Jeannie has developed. She probably has said, you know, I have missed so many 10-pins in my career. I've just got one ball for my 10-pin.
It's interesting because she said that she feels like she originally hurt her hand shooting 10 pins, trying to throw it a little straighter and a little harder. So she said, to heck with that. I'm going to just drill up a ball that's kind of neutral, one that'll skid a little bit, and I'll just throw that for the 10 pins and use my strike ball for everything else.
That's exactly right. She hurt her hand trying to back the ball up, as she told me as well.
You know, it's interesting, though. I think if you, as opposed to backing it up, if you just break your wrist as opposed to staying underneath the ball, you can kill it effectively enough where you can go a little straighter at it. But,
well, it's tough to break your wrist when you're wearing a wrist device such as this.
you'd have to take it off every time you shoot the 10 pin.
Right.
Some players do that.
They do, and a lot of tournaments I have done that, but sometimes when you put it back on, you don't get the exact feel.
Yeah, and you put it on differently every time. Yeah, you're right. That's tough. All right, midway through match number 2. And Leanne Barrett accepting the Robbie Award from Robbie Robinson, the CEO of Robbie Enterprises. Well, this will be the last U.S. Open that Chief Wapinski presides over as the executive director of the BPAA. He is effectively retiring in July. He's getting a brand new set of golf clubs and said, I'm going to spend some time in the bowling center, but I'm going to start to work on the handicap a little bit.
Well, we'd like to wish Chief well, as he's been a great accomplice to the BPAA.
The 6-pin working overtime on lane 52. Anne Marie with a 3-bagger, leads by 2, and she just keeps on striking.
Really having some thumb problems, Denny. It's very warm down where the players are bowling. Even though it's been cool here, the temperatures in Southern California have not been up to par. Been a lot hotter on the East Coast, but it's been very warm down in the bowlers area.
I don't think it got to 70 degrees here in Los Angeles today. Partly cloudy skies. Oh, the 9-pin dances the 4-pin and the head pin off the wall, and Anne Marie has a 4-bagger and a 12-pin lead. Jeannie Maiden with the WIBC's all-time 3-game series of 864, back-to-back 300 games, so once she gets locked in, she can repeat.
She has 18 300 games, Denny. She's in the Guinness Book of World Records.
18 perfectos. Up the track, will it hold? Not quite. 4-pin stands. Jeannie's close, but just hasn't been able to get that 4 up. She was so funny after the 159 debacle in Cedar Rapids. She said, I don't care what anybody says, I'm going to keep making these telecasts until I get it right. Which is, I think, a great way to try and shrug off a very difficult and disappointing evening, but I think that's what you have to do out here. 2 weeks later now, she's vying for the U.S. Open title.
Well, she has had a rough run at it, Denny, in the fall as well. She made quite a few shows, really was unable to put together some high scores to beat her opponents.
A player that is making her 40th appearance in the championship round, has a career match play record of 22 and 32. Not as good a match play record, I think, as you would suspect from a lady of her talents. She just hasn't quite gotten enough breaks in the championship round. Like that shot the moment it left her fingertips, and she strikes into 6.
Right now, Anne Marie working on 4 in a row, taking a re-rack.
And Wally Hall, the president of the Bowling Proprietors Association of America, looks on as he has been out all week long watching the Women's U.S. Open. And don't forget, French Open live action on ESPN tomorrow and Saturday beginning at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. Anne Marie continues to strike, and that's been the trend here in the championship round.
The 10-pin getting a nice slap from the 6-pin, seeing the ball just flush the pocket.
Anne Marie circling, playing the outside angle, and nobody did that better this week than Leanne Barrett, our top seed, who will be up next. We're liable to see a couple of boards crossed from Leanne.
Just a few.
A few going this way and a few going that way.
Well, Leanne pretty much will come out and play relatively the same line that Anne Marie is playing, swinging the ball from left to right.
Well, we're past the midway point. Jeannie Maiden trying to cool off. Anne Marie trying to stay hot. We'll be back to Fountain Valley, California, right after these messages. Jeannie Maiden working on a strike in the 6th, trailing by 33. She has to at least get started with a double here.
The last time as number 2 seed, Jeannie Maiden lost to Betty Morris in Los Angeles in 1986.
Key shot. And once again the 4-pin. Boy, so close to tripping out the 4 and making this a very tight match, but Jeannie just cannot get the break. You know, we've mentioned this is the 21st annual BPAA U.S. Open, but before 1971, it was the old BPAA All-Star event. It was a 100-game event, and Marian Ladowig won 8 All-Stars. She has more victories than any other woman, and I had a chance to meet her earlier this year in St. Louis at the Salute the Champions. What a wonderful lady she is.
I've never had the pleasure of meeting her.
Man, could she bowl, huh?
I guess so.
Won 5 in a row, 49 to 54. Boy, some of the greats of all time have captured this event. It's amazing. No one, though, has ever won the U.S. Open back-to-back.
Well, it's a very, very difficult field, Denny. We're also in a new city practically every year. The only year I remember repeating that I've been involved in the tours was in Topeka, Kansas, when we went back-to-back in 85 and 86.
Jeannie with a strike on lane 51 in the 8th has a possible 236, but that could finish a distant second if Anne-Marie continues to strike. She has 6 in a row after an open in the 1st. Obviously, lane 52, the better of the 2 for Anne-Marie. Let's see if that holds true.
Tugging that ball a little bit inside her mark as she come back. She made a little motion with her arm to throw it right. I'm surprised the ball held line, but once again, the conditioner has carried down now. You can see where a shot like that is just going to hit in the pocket instead of a 4-6, but you're not going to get the strong drive and get the 10 out.
A moment of anticipation. Anne-Marie turns around and heads back to lane 51. That was closer than it looked.
She gave it quite a bit of lift and loft on it, a lot of fingers in it, but she just sat there and watched it because the ball just went into a dead slide to the right.
Barely hung on to take out the 10. Key shot now for Anne-Marie, the foundation frame in the 9th, and boy, she does it beautifully. She's made very few mistakes in her 3 games here this evening.
Really, she has been very consistent. Thanks to our bowler track, she has kept her ball speed relatively the same for 2 games. She has not varied in her mark more than a board to 2 boards.
And the Bowling Proprietors Association of America wants to welcome the new CEO, William Blue, to take over for Chief coming up in July. And I had a chance to chat with Bill last night, and he's got a number of different programs, ideas, progressive ideas for the bowling industry, and we look forward to having him aboard.
It's always nice getting new blood into the industry, getting some outside ideas, outside opinions.
I guess you could say we've got a blue blood now.
Good. I wonder if...
You really didn't have to laugh at that, but it wasn't too bad, was it?
That was good.
Thank you. It was lucky. It was a lucky
It was.
stab. It's the 8th week. Once in a while, you get lucky. Now for Jeannie Maiden, who is on a strike. Needs one here to keep within striking distance. How about a break? She finally gets one with the light hit on lane 52.
Well, unable to trip out the 4s, she says maybe those wall shots will carry a little bit better, actually trying to arc the ball a little bit more that time.
Well, you mentioned the 4. You look at the spares in the 5th and the 7th. Both of those were pretty good shots where she left the solid 4-pin.
Right now, Jeannie Maiden can shoot a possible 236 game. Once again, she would force Anne-Marie to at least mark in the 10th.
Gotta have it. And she gets it. Boy, beautiful shot. First shot in the 10th for Jeannie Maiden, who, once again, could be a hard luck story here this evening.
Well, it appears so, Denny. We'll have to wait and see. Only a couple balls left. Her last title in 1988. It's been a long dry spell for this young lady.
The way she's bowling right now, though, it won't be much longer before she breaks back into the winner's circle. A lot of times it's just a question of who you bowl and when you bowl them. Excellent game for Jeannie Maiden. A couple of 4-pins that stood here and there, or she might be advancing into the title match.
Count once again, very important.
With a strike here, of course, the same scenario for Anne-Marie. She'll need a mark again in the 10th frame if she expects to advance. The other 2 times she's come up with perfect strikes.
Well, at least the matches have been close. Pretty shot.
Can't do it much better. Jeannie Maiden strikes out from the 8th frame, a game of 236. And for Anne-Marie, the same similar scenario. She needs a mark to move on.
She needs a spare and 9 pins to move on.
Strike will do. 3 consecutive matches. She has come up in the 10th frame and hit the pocket. And if memory serves me correctly, all 3 times it's been on lane 52.
That's right. Now the other players have given Anne-Marie the opportunity to finish on her good lane, lane 52. But they have also made Anne-Marie finish the match. So that applied even more pressure to her. She's been performing very well.
Leaves a Durbin on the fill shot on lane 52. This one isn't over yet.
Have you decided yet exactly what my spare is going to be now that we do have this Durbin? The game is over right now.
Yeah, it is. As a matter of fact, I made a mistake. You believe that? 8th week.
8th week.
Well,
Only
happens to
one.
everybody. Gosh, I'm sure glad everybody realizes that. And the Durbin is picked up by Anne-Marie. Well, let's see if I can get it straight for the title match. 244 to 236 for Anne-Marie Dugan. It's all those strikes, folks. I'm delirious here in Fountain Valley, California. Time to cool off. Grab a drink for Anne-Marie, but she'll try and keep the hot hand when she takes on the top seed, Leanne Barrett. And for those of you who can't read the fine print, that's Rochester, Indiana. Oh, there we go. Now they close in on it. Okay, send money right here to Fountain Valley, California. Leanne Barrett finishing out the practice session before the championship game. Leila had a chance to talk with her about the prestige and the historic background of the U.S. Open.
Leanne, you have 11 titles, but you have not yet won a major title. Is there some added pressure on you here tonight?
I've thought about that, but I mean, I've bowled good all week, and I win or lose, it's something I'll probably remember for a long time, but hopefully I'll bowl well.
Do you feel that having so many family members here this week really helped you to excel, or do you think that also put some pressure on you?
I think it was a lot of pressure, but I think it was a pressure because I didn't want to let them down, and it was good, obviously, because I bowled really good, and they're happy, and I was happy, so I think they helped me a lot.
Well, for anyone who could lead the U.S. Open by over 400 pins, good luck tonight.
Thanks.
As a matter of fact, she set an LPBT record for leading a 56-game event. Now the question is, does she have what it takes to come up and win in the title match?
She sure did. She broke a previous record set by Lori Nichols in 1984. She led it by 417 pins and went on to lose that to Karen Ellingsworth.
Leanne would love to get off to a quick start because Anne-Marie is throwing nearly 9 strikes a game and averaging better than 237 here in the championship round.
Leanne opted to start the match, therefore Leanne finishes on lane 52. Not what she wanted to do to come out in the opening frame.
Washout for Leanne on lane 51, not the way you want to start.
Really threw that ball with a lot of speed, unable really from our angle to see exactly what happened there. It appears that it might not have got out to the dry boards whatsoever.
In other words, just not quite enough swing.
Exactly, just stayed more direct in the oil, and with the amount of ball speed that she does throw the ball at, just went straight.
Washout, not to be. Leanne starts with an open frame in the 8th. Well, that's something Anne-Marie has done a couple of times. She's come back to win.
Anne-Marie right now with a lot of confidence going into this game. She has been on these lanes for 3 previous games.
Oh, but not for a title, as she leaves a Durban on lane 52 to start the championship game. Boy, what a difference in the arm swing, huh, between the semifinal game and the title match.
I think we will definitely see the pressure building. Anne-Marie looking off as she came back up the approach. I'm not sure if there was a little bit of distraction in the audience or exactly what happened there, but she definitely did not throw the ball to the right.
Oh, look at that. The 9-pin wiggles but will not fall, so both players open up in the first frame, and Leanne is thinking to herself, wow, I got a major break from Leanne, who's done nothing but strike, or I should say from Anne-Marie.
A reprieve for Leanne Barrett.
Don't forget, coming up as soon as we're done here with the U.S. Open, we've got live top-ranked boxing from the Shelby High School in Shelby, Montana. 12-round lightweight fight between Todd Foster and Tommy Hanks. Live top-ranked boxing coming up next. Good comeback shot for Anne-Marie, but she leaves the 4-pin.
It appeared virtually the same type of shot she has been playing. Really gave it the room that time, possibly a little bit less ball speed. You can see there Anne-Marie defeated Leanne Barrett 234 to 233. Very close match in match play.
Let's hope it ends up something like that for either player here in this one, huh? By a pin or two?
That would be very exciting.
That'd be a fun way to go. And a wonderful spring tour for the LPBT on ESPN. Of course, we mentioned the ladies will be coming back October 9th. That's a Wednesday night in the fall from Country Club Lanes, the Hammer Western Open. That's what kicks off the fall tour on ESPN.
Oh, just about 30 minutes from where I live.
Yeah,
It'll be nice to be at home.
Sure. Well, you'll get to bowl in front of some of the hometown fans, right?
That's right. I move so often that I get a lot of hometowns.
Right.
It's wonderful.
That's how you get applause from coast to coast. It's a smart way to do it. Leanne sets this one a little short, obviously. The adjustment, thinking, well, maybe the lanes are a little tighter. Now she scratches her head, leaves the baby split on the right lane. Not a good start.
Relatively easy spare conversion, putting the ball between the 3 and the 10. Leanne Barrett, the only one of our finalists here tonight to make the U.S. Open television show last year. She won her first match, shot 170 because Alita Sill split in the 10th, but then she went on to shoot 140 and finished 3rd.
Got a hook. Oh, my. Leanne with a wry smile as the 3-pin whisked away.
By the skin of my chinny chin chin, here goes the 3-pin, barely. And I think that had to be the wind.
It had to be. That ball never touched that pin, did it?
And, okay, I'll take it.
I tell you what, I think right now she's a little hot with herself. She has struggled with the nerves the last couple of days, very nervous today, and has been uncomfortable, and just wants to go out and make some good shots, but she's feeling the heat right now. Good shot here as she stretched out with that one a little bit better.
One of the key things for Leanne Barrett, you mentioned stretched out. That's exactly right. She needs to project the ball long, and if she does that, you can just tell with her body how she cuts the ball short and raises up, the difference that it makes.
Anne-Marie inside the target line, got a nice break from the head pin that kicked out the 5, but she leaves the 7.
When you are inside your target line, the ball not hitting those dry boards quite soon enough, the ball into a skid, barely getting out the 5-pin. That's what you get from not that hard drive in the back end.
Do you think that the lanes might be changing a little for Anne-Marie, or?
I would have to say no, not really. Lane 51, she hit pretty good, left the 4-pin. Really on lane 52, the last 2 times she has been inside.
Okay.
Trust is a must, and
Yeah.
you can tell she's smiling. She knows that she needs to keep that arm swing free,
Boy, that's easier said than done right now.
especially from up here in the booth.
Yeah.
I can imagine what type of pressure these 2 players are performing under right now.
Well, you want to join a very special group of ladies who have captured not only the All-Star, but the U.S. Open. Not an easy title to win. There's a little more of a free swing. 4-pin once again stands up on lane 51.
Right now, it appears the tables have really turned. Anne-Marie was carrying those 4 pins. We saw Jeannie Maiden stuff a couple of them, but right now they're standing.
Anne-Marie with 8, 9, and 9 strikes in her first 3 games, and yet to get an X here in the championship match.
Good spare conversion. Just stay close until you can get something going. You don't want to give anything away.
Let's take a look now at Leanne and see if she realized that the extension was much better. See what kind of a shot she makes here on the right-hand lane.
Leanne, the 1990 LPBT Player of the Year, also the 1990 Robbie Award winner. Something very special to her, voted by her players.
Oh, she got a handful there.
Beautiful.
Oh, Wax City on lane 52 as her mom and brother look on. And now Leanne leads by 11. One more strike here, and all of a sudden you watch how loose Leanne Barrett gets.
Well, if Leanne finds out that she can throw the ball out to the right like that and get it back, she will be able to loosen up a little bit. And Leanne's little nephew, Cooper, 5 months old, was here this week, and I had the pleasure of speaking with her grandfather in the audience a little bit earlier. He recently out of the hospital.
Could lead by 21 here if she strikes on 51.
Gave it the room, looking for the trip off the 2. Well, at least she trusted it and mentioned her grandfather, and there's Carve.
Great name. Huh?
Carve Geckler.
Carve.
Got a nice ring to it.
Yep. Leanne with the 2-pin. Boy, she wanted that one bad. She strikes right there. Leanne's in a whole different situation.
Well, she came out as the top seed in Columbia and through 10 straight strikes, shot 286 against Carol Giannotti, who shot 244.
This one's settled in a bit. Leanne with a 10-pin lead, but Anne-Marie could change that story if she comes up here with a couple of strikes.
Once again inside, but that ball seemed to hold line, Denny.
That ball starts to get a little heavy right now, Leila.
It would have got heavy for me probably a couple games ago. But I haven't been competing as much. For these players who are out here week after week, it's starting to right now, I'm sure.
Anne-Marie with a strike here. Could get back to even.
See if she gives the ball the room on 51 or opts to play a little bit tighter. Good shot.
Plenty of room. Beautiful shot for Anne-Marie Dugan, who comes back with a double of her own. This match is even now. And Anne-Marie, with a terrific double, puts the pressure right back on Leanne Barrett.
Leanne Barrett taking a little extra time, making sure her hand is dry.
Powerful shot. Will it get to the pocket? No. And with the 2-5 left, that's a tricky little spare.
Leanne coming back, checking the approach, ran her foot, did not stay through that shot once again, Denny, but it appears her footwork, she did not have a good feel and slipped. A little bit of sliding going on throughout the week. I noticed my traction was not very good on certain pairs. The 1997 Bowling Digest Rookie of the Year gets it the hard way.
Yeah, sigh of relief after that 2-5 attempt. As she steps up now in the 7th frame. Just 2 pins separating Anne-Marie Dugan and Leanne Barrett. The winner, $16,500 and the U.S. Open title.
It's hard to believe Leanne Barrett's only 23 years old and already with 11 titles.
Trying to focus up. And light again. 5-pin now in the left-hand lane.
You have to admire admire Leanne Denny, the fact that she is giving it the room, but she needs to adjust a little bit to the right. The lanes are definitely a little bit tighter than she's making them out to be. She's setting the ball in where the heavy conditioner is, swinging it out to the drive, but if she made about a 2-on-1 move to the right, she would probably be flush into the pocket. And I mean 2 boards with your feet and possibly 1 board out to the right with her target.
Well, you can see she made an adjustment there on the 5-pin. The ball went left to the head pin. So the calculator going right now. Leanne's trying to figure out just what she needs to do the next time she gets to 51. And meanwhile, Anne-Marie leads by 3. Could take a 13-pin lead if she strikes here. Plenty of lift. Too much lift, and got away with a major break there that she didn't leave the 10-pin along with the 3.
Really cutting that ball off short. You could see her arm swing just crossing her body, and the results, the ball going left. But she got a break there. The 10 fell out.
Well, the head pin went straight back and ricocheted and took that 10 out. That's unusual.
Relatively easy spare conversion. The 3-pin, shooting it from the left-hand side of the lane.
So many times that's the difference between winning and losing a match. When you make a bad shot, you get away with just a 9-pin spare.
Exactly. Break up those splits.
Both players opened in the first. Since that time, they've been neck and neck. Anne-Marie by 2.
Anne-Marie finally carrying on lane 51 last time through a flush shot.
Gave this plenty of room. And ends up again, right dead center in the 1-3 pocket on lane 51. Well, for Leanne, it's all come down to a couple of shots here in the latter stages. She needs to throw a couple of strikes.
Right now in the 8th and 9th frame, winding this match up, Leanne Barrett could set herself up for a nice finish. I'm a little bit amazed that she has opted to put the pressure on herself. She must really feel that lane 52 is her better lane.
More speed, more direct. This time a little different scenario as she almost runs through the nose and leaves the 4-7.
Trying to tighten up the line a little bit, Denny. Play that hold area right around the second arrow. That ball not going out to any more than about the 8th board. Now the shot that she went flush and so beautifully hit the pocket, her ball went out to about the 5th board, really hit that dry, came roaring back.
Cross lane at the 4-7. And 212 would be the best score that Leanne Barrett could come up with here in the title match.
Right now, the foundation strike, that strike in the 9th, Anne-Marie sitting very nicely on a strike, is 4 pins up. Count has been very important here so far this game. As you can see, both players only with 1 double, and both players with 1 open frame.
One hooked the moment it left her fingertips, and she leaves the 3-6-9 or 3-6-10-7. Oh boy.
A disappointing finish here for Leanne Denny. She led this event by over 400 pins, as we've mentioned so many times before. To come out and lose it in 1 game, it just sometimes does not seem fair. She's getting a definite over-under reaction on this pair of lanes. She hits that dry area, the ball hooks. She moves in a little bit, the ball's sliding a little bit too long for her.
And now she'll try and slide the 3-pin into the 7. If she has any chance at all to win, she's going to have to make this. And it doesn't happen. Disaster for Leanne Barrett in the 9th frame, and Anne-Marie knows full well what she needs to do to capture the U.S. Open.
I think Anne-Marie is the type of player that will stay very aggressive at this point. She has 2 frames to feel quite a few pins. She leads by 20.
Plenty aloft. She leaves the 2-5, and you're not assured of making that right now.
No, you're not. Plenty of loft. That ball hung up on her hand quite a bit. That could be caused by the excessive moisture on the hand and also by squeezing the ball just a little bit as it got very heavy here in the 9th frame.
Fall-away conversion of the 2-5, and it takes courage right now to shoot that. Leanne obviously disappointed with what's happened to her in the title match. Wanted this one so badly.
Right now, Anne-Marie needs a mark to shut out Leanne Barrett.
Just as she has done all night long. She's come up with a strike when she needed it, and Anne-Marie Dugan is moments away from collecting the biggest check of her career.
And 2 balls to get 1 pin.
Boy, she has thrown some quality shots under the severest of pressure here this evening. Anne-Marie Dugan from La Habra, California, the winner of the PWBA U.S. Open, and it's finally starting to sink in as the tears flow. The U.S. Open champion, Anne-Marie Dugan, flanked by Wally Hall and Chief Wapinski. Beautiful replica of the trophy, a check for $16,000, and the U.S. Open green jacket being donned by Anne-Marie in front of the hometown fans.
Be sure to watch for the Ladies Pro Bowlers Tour on ESPN this coming fall, with the opening telecast scheduled for Wednesday night, October 9th, beginning at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, live from the Country Club Lanes in Baltimore, Maryland. And coming up next on ESPN, it's live top-ranked boxing from Shelby High School in Shelby, Montana, the site of the July 4th, 1923 Jack Dempsey-Tommy Gibbons World Heavyweight Championship fight.